Why, hello everybody. I hope you're doing well today. While I've been gone, I've been thinking, man, ever since this most recent patch that literally gave us Elden Ring 2, the video game, how are Invasions doing? Invasions have sucked for a very, very long time. I wonder how they're doing. And then it dawned on me, I should make a series where we take a fine-tooth comb and go over everything, okay? So today we're going to start at 25 and we'll do different soul levels, but essentially the idea, it's called 10 vasions, alright? We do all 10 invasions in order, no cutting invasions out, no matter even if it's something like a disconnect, game crashes, anything like that, no matter how bad it is. We have to diagnose what's going on with invasions as of these days. We're going to hope that it's better, and it might not be. And we'll continue this series even once there's new patches and DLC and stuff like that, because obviously invasions is going to be affected by all those different things, right? So today we're going to run a level 25 build. I haven't played in a long time, and something that can help you gain your confidence back is fighting lower level people. Sure, you have a pretty decent chance of running across twinks, but, you know, you need some amount of challenge at these lower levels. I have that stat spread right there. We have armor that you can expect to get around Limgrave. We're going to be using mostly the Claymore and the Scimitar, which you get both of those in Limgrave. And the majority of these talismans are either things that are close to Limgrave or are in Limgrave. So even though this is technically a twink, it's a very, very mild twink build, okay? So this is very close to all stuff that you could get in Limgrave. So without a further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 10 invasions. Let's get it. Alright, so the first one's going to be absolutely nothing special. The host is AFK, and he did not start moving around or anything once he had been backstabbed. So we take that, we take those runes, and we dip out of there. Somehow I ran past the summon. I have no clue how, I'll be honest. Now, I've sped up parts like this where it takes me forever to find the host and phantom. I think maybe we have don't talk about enough how frustrating it is to have to search like an entire level looking for people. Now, granted, we do have the compass, of course, but like oftentimes it's just not adequate. Like, it will not tell you when someone's above or below you, and that leads to a lot of frustration, especially in areas like, say, Stormville or other equally vertical areas. Now, this phantom is very clearly a high level because these throwing daggers are hitting so hard, and it's the fan daggers too, which don't do that much damage. So the good thing about it, that was not a roll catch because this game is rigged. And also the host is a twink, just to throw that on there. But anyway, thankfully he doesn't have a whole lot in the way of HP, so as long as I don't get blendered, I should be able to make some magic happen here. So go ahead and get that roll catch on him. I tried getting the spicy roll catch, but he kept panic rolling, and I didn't time it for that follow-up roll. Has the Thunderbolt right there, as every single level 25 person does, you know. Go ahead and pack that guy right there. I wasn't paying attention to how many runes did he give us. Let's see what he gave. What? Okay, well, never mind. He's not overleveled. He only gave us 150 runes. Alright, GG, I suppose. This here is a perfect example. Like, thankfully it didn't take too long, but this part of Stormville is so vertical that trying to figure out if the opponent is ahead of you or further back in the level is very time consuming, to say the least. So obviously I don't want to contest them right here, because if I'm on that tiny ledge, I'm going to die instantly. It's not like I have like the Stormhawk axe or anything like that. So I go ahead and Phantom Bloody Finger. And the thing that this made me realize as well is, look where it spawns us. Look at this. Huh? Why did it put me, like, actually 15 football fields away? So, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up. We need to do the Fitness Gram Pacer test to get back to them. Thank God they dropped down right here, and we're able to get back into the action. But seriously, either they need to make like the spawn system in this game a lot better, or they need to make the Phantom Bloody Finger not run out of uses. Like, it's already super slow, and it always puts you in like these awful positions. Also, pretty goated backstab right there. I totally did that on purpose. I've never landed that in my life, but I very clearly did that on purpose. Now, once again, we are going to need to get our cardio in, so here starts our journey going through Limgrave. Yeah, just taking for absolute ever to find where they are. I realize that they're down in the canyon, and he makes a silly mistake. He sees that he can't get into the cave and sends his phantom back, not realizing that I'm going to stop him from getting into the cave. So this poor PvEer is about to get nay-nayed. Like, he's just holding his shield up and trying to get the guard counters, because if you just play through PvE and you don't know what you're doing, you're like, oh man, guard counters are so good. That they're really bad. Just don't do it. I mean, like, straight swords have a pretty good guard counter. I think hammers and curved swords do too, but like, it's such a gimmicky move and it's so telegraphed. But anyway, this is technically a twink build, but there's very few things that we have that are like even like all that far away from Limgrave. Like, I've got the Flame Cleanse Me, because something that's really bad at this level is people Scarlet Rotting you with Ant Spur. That's something you should always go ahead and just, like, be, I suppose, dishonest and go get Flame Cleanse Me. It's early in Liurnia. You need it. You are going to fight people that are using dual Frostbite Ant Spurs, and it is an absolute nightmare, so you should have that on you at all times. But yeah, generally speaking, just about everything in my inventory is something that you can get in Limgrave. And if you're going to, like, invade an area, like, it is fun running through the game and trying to see how far you can get, how much stuff you can get, despite the fact that you're such a low level. But in my opinion, like, if you're going to be a twink like that, like, try to mirror the power level of the person you're fighting, because if you're at these lower levels like this, you're probably going to absolutely steamroll them if you use your normal, like, stuff you got from in-game. Teabagging, even though he's over-leveled and did nothing impressive right there. The reason I got hit by that follow-up L1 is because I was watching Jinxie, so, you know, my bad. I wasn't on my complete grind. I wasn't as strapped in as I needed to be, but it's okay. It's okay. I feel like I really could have won that, though, if I'd been paying attention. But the thing is that Limgrave itself gives you plenty to work with when it comes to making a very strong low-level build. So, if we're talking about things that are just in Limgrave, which means it's fair game for you to use, you've got the physic that gives you very high regeneration. It's like 7 HP per tick. Then you have the Strength Knot, which is not too far away from Stormville, and combining that with two-handing your weapon, you should be able to muster the 40 strength it takes to use the grafted Blades Ash of War, which gives you a +5 to every last one of your stats. All of that is Limgrave, and it makes you so strong for the minute that Ash of War is active. So you do not need, technically, you do not need to be like some brutal twink to, like, fight other twinks at this level. Somehow missed that right there because my brain is made out of Nutella. Like, that is super strong in its own. You're probably going to be two-handing a fair amount of the weapons you get at this level, so that strength bonus is quite nice. And yeah, like, another aspect of it is that I don't really mind if somebody's using, like, armor that's past Limgrave, as long as that armor is objectively worse than stuff you can get in Limgrave. So, like, I would really like to have, say, like, the Traveling Maiden set, right? But that's all the way in the Halig tree. But it wouldn't necessarily bother me if someone was just using that, because that armor is objectively much worse than a lot of other armors you can get in this area. And so it's like, okay, you want to look cool, and your armor doesn't really give you an advantage. Okay, so, like, that's fine. Like, I have my own personal rule set when it comes to twinking. It's like, mirror the OP or not OP of your opponent, wear fashion that is objectively worse statistically than stuff that you can get later in, and get just enough stuff to where you can fight fire with fire. Meaning, if you're going to fight someone that's using, like, dual lance spurs or something like that, you should go get Flame Cleanse Me. You should get Bestial Vitality, because you never know when someone's going to spam it against you. Like, you should have these things to fight the people that, like, you statistically just cannot win against if you do not have those things. But refrain from using them against guys like Mr. Shark Kaboom here, who's very clearly just playing the game. Like, he keeps on using the Ash of War on me. It's not panning out for him very much, to put it lightly. He's giving it what he's got. But that right there is a roll catch, a very consistent roll catch. Bloody Slash is... I'm always very happy when people are using it against me, especially at like lower levels, because most people just spam the Ash of War and never consider the fact that I might just be able to, I don't know, maybe roll it. But the thing is that most people panic roll at these levels anyway. So if you use, like, say on the Scimitar or the Shamshir, if you use like the running heavy or the heavy jumping attack. Oh, by the way, these guys can hit invaders apparently. The more you know. And they say they panic, then it will catch them. And bleed resistances are low at this level, so really, really fun to use at this level. And it's perfectly legit because Bloody Slash is in the fort height. So you don't need to worry about, oh, it's a twink Ash of War. Like, no, it's not. And also, the damage that you cause yourself is partially mitigated by the strength of the regeneration tier. So while yes, you should not spam it, the way that I like to use it is keep a tally in my mind of like how many times I've hit them recently, and then like as say like a Crimson Tier punish or something like that, go for the jump attack, and if I'm pretty certain that they're about to have their bleed go out, do the panic roll combo. A lot of people will panic roll that because just a ton of people either spam or they panic roll, especially at these lower levels. Switch target right there to throw him off guard, get a good half of his HP gone. Like, this Ash of War, if you use it properly, like, it's not like the greatest in the game, of course, but it hits really hard. It hits like 1.0 Elden Ring hard. Like, it hits stupid hard. Miss right there, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I'm always envious of people that start Warrior because I want the dual scimitars, but like, if you want to get it on Vagabond, which is like the starting class you should be using in most situations, then you need to farm the skeletons in that one catacomb, and it's super annoying. But yeah, obviously, if you've been watching, you can tell that I'm not playing good. Like, I've been on a pretty long hiatus, but that's kind of the nice thing about doing, say, like level 20, level 40, essentially anything that's not level meta level, excuse me, is that people are not going to like be punishing you properly, and it allows you to make some mistakes and kind of like shape up before you go at meta level and, you know, get thrashed by, you know, the hosts and whatnot that are there. Once again, a pretty far... Actually, you know what? This spawn's not too bad. But the first thing that's on my mind is, oh, they still have those barrels. I should huck some fire at them. By the way, something I learned the other day on stream. Frenzy spells will ignite these barrels because it's fire damage. So if you're running that one Frenzy spell that's in the Weeping Peninsula, it is really strong in this area because not only are like the Frenzy spells already strong, like the Flame of Frenzy and Unendurable Frenzy, those two are very good. If it ignites the barrels, and say like you happen to madness them around the same time, you've probably just killed them in one shot, like, honestly. Get that roll catch right there again. Almost get the host, but this guy runs up behind us. He's quite latent, but you see, he's spamming the Ash of War just out of neutral, so, like, he's just essentially giving me free damage when he does that. Whereas they tend to panic roll when I set it up, and so ours... Ooh, need to get out of there. We're setting ours up, so even though it's costing us HP, we're setting it up much nicer. Get blood out right there because, you know, Unga Boonga. You know how it is. Also, I'll be honest, this guy using the Lightning Strike, I've never seen someone use that below meta level. And even at meta level, it's not like it's anything remotely that good. But it was interesting fighting someone that was using it because it kind of, like, makes you feel like you're playing one of these games, like almost like Galaga, where, like, there's, like, a huge stream of bullet like right there that you have to avoid, but you can see it coming, so it's kind of like divvying up the playing field. I mean, I get it. It's a spell spam in this game is about as enjoyable as giving yourself a hysterectomy, but I don't know. I found it more enjoyable than typically, you know, so that was not a good use of the Ash of War right there, so, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, man, like, the nice thing, too, about running these low levels is that if you want to run fashion that's not very good, aka what I run all the time, you will not get me to swap off of this knight armor unless you're really pissing me off. Like, if someone's, like, super latent using meta stuff and getting on my nerves, okay, then I'll switch off to something high poison and whatnot. Otherwise, I stay on this. But it's not like some huge disadvantage the majority of the time, because it's kind of just on average with what everyone else is using. So if you're somebody who is like me and likes using worse things just because you're addicted to how things look, then I would say try your hand at a build that's made for Limgrave or Liurnia. And the other thing is as well is that those other areas are really fun. Like, meta level, you're going to get stuff, like, sparsely throughout the entire game. You're going to be getting stuff mostly at Crumbling Azula, Haligtree, God forbid the mountaintops of the giants. You know, like, fuck mountaintops. But, like, getting consistent Limgrave stuff, or, say, Liurnia, stuff like that, is super fun. So, if you don't have a low-level build, the moral of the story is, you know, don't be, like, the world's most disgusting twink, but, like, go have some fun, because these areas are a lot more fun. Here again, we are doing the Fitness Grand Pacer test because the game spawned us behind the people rather than in front of them, which is always nice. It's actually unfathomable how inconsistent and typically bad the spawns are in this game. Like, we had a very chill night when it came to, like, the people we were fighting. Like, the people that were over-leveled or twinks, like, they weren't that bad, you know? It was so far from how bad it can be, which was nice. It's nice that the first episode was pretty laid back. But what we got plenty of was... Oh, nice glitch right there. Is a bunch of having to chase people down. And I get it, it's a gigantic open world game, but, like, come on now. The spawns could be a little better. Like, I think we can all agree on that. Like, the other day, I got spawned in Jarburg while the host was elsewhere in Liurnia. Like, truly terrible. But with that being said, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.